Right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. We are back again this evening, and we are going to be discussing lots of Arsenal stories as usual on the podcast. We're going to be diving into Darwin Nunez. Yesterday, he was in action, and reports have indicated that Arsenal sent their scouts in that game. Liverpool up against Benfica. We'll try to dive more into that. Also, the fact that his price has actually increased ever since then, right? I'm also going to be discussing Memphis Depay. A couple of stories running around since morning that Memphis Depay is actually now admired by Everton, Spurs, and the latest club to enter that race is Arsenal. Obviously, make sure you do smash a like on the video. It really helps the channel and the stream a lot. Also, subscribe to the channel if you feel like this is the content you would love to hear all the time. Right. Let's start off with reports from Memphis Depay. Now, today in the morning, we looked at that story. I think I covered it a little bit, later in the story in the morning. When we were talking about the rest of the Arsenal news in the morning, what is happening is a report that has been written by the TBR room has actually indicated, and this is a story that has been widely shared through the Barca Times and lots of outlets from Spain and Barcelona, and they're saying Arsenal have now asked about Tottenham target Memphis Depay. They're saying Arsenal have now joined the race to sign Memphis Depay with Super Deport in Spain reporting that they have already asked about the Barcelona forward ahead of the summer. Depay could leave the Catalan Giants after 1 year. He made a great start to life at the Camp Nou, scoring 8 goals in La Liga before the end of November. However, he spent some time in the sidelines due to injury, and he's yet to regain his starting spot in the side. He has not played 90 minutes in top flight since December. Of course, Barcelona have now changed manager since his arrival, and it would appear that Xavi is not a big fan of the Dutchman as Ronald Koeman was. I think so. Arsenal have joined the rest to sign Barcelona forward Memphis Depay. The other clubs interested, I've seen Aston Villa, I've seen Everton, and I've seen Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur have been the primary club in that race. They've wanted him, they've tried to sign him, all through, and now it looks like Arsenal have also joined in. So I would love to get your thoughts first and foremost. What you think about that story? What do you think about Arsenal going in there and getting Memphis Depay? I would love to get your thoughts in the comment box below, because it's one story that amuses me. Honestly, it's one story that amuses me first and foremost. I didn't expect this, but with Arsenal rumors and with Arsenal speculation, anything comes to the table. I think anything and everything always comes to the table. So Memphis Depay, I think he's a very, very unfortunate player. He was signed by Ronald Koeman from Lyon on a free. He had a very good start to his life at Barcelona, in the first year. And I think during that turmoil, when Barcelona were actually, I think just surviving, he was the only player that was actually giving them that quality. There was no other player really that was giving Barcelona any quality. It was Memphis Depay. The likes of Ansu Fati injured, of course. The likes of Pedri always consistently injured. And why I think he was unlucky is that when Barca changed managers, he had to impress again. He had to impress Xavi. And I think what Xavi did was to give every player a clean slate. And I think that was very good. But he then finds himself injured at a time when he has to impress a new manager. And during that time, many players are signed in January, including Aubameyang, including Ferran Torres, and then Adama, and all these players. I mean, you can that is how far you can be. You can be unfortunate. All these players have actually done very well. All these players have done very well for Barcelona. Now, He has to fight for for a starting spot. And since December, he has not started in the top flight for them. Since December, this is April, so 4 months he has not started the game for Xavi's side. And I think Xavi's team has found a structure, and he has already found his priorities. Who's gonna play where, and who's going to actually play when. So the regulars on the flanks, you have Adama and Ferran. You also have Ousmane Dembele and Gavi. I think, honestly, if you look at what Xavi is trying to do, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very, very hard for him to get back in the squad. So back, of course, they could use anything. As long as they get any money out of it, they will be able to take it in. And they're looking to cash in on him. They got him on a free, last summer from Lyon. So anything, whether 20 million, whether 30 million, and I think they could get something like not less than 15 or 20 million from his sale. He's a young player. Oh, did I say young? He's a good player, and I think his quality. He's not young. He's 29 years of age, and that is where for me the point is, lads. Arsenal needs some bit of quality, extra quality, but we also need that kind of experience, that bit of experience from players like maybe Memphis Depay. If you look at our squad at the moment, how many players are actually able to provide the experience? Leno, who will be leaving in the summer, in that back line, Rob Holding. Look, I think Rob Holding, because he's older than all the centre backs at the club, available at the club. Rob Holding is older than Ben White, and he's older than Gabriel as well. So I don't know if we get any experience from Rob Holding, but you could say we get experience from him. He's been at the side for quite some time. Mohamed El Neni, who will be leaving as well. So that leaves us with Xhaka, who we do not know what his future is. We actually don't know whether Xhaka is going to stay in the summer. High chances are that he will leave. So does that justify the Arsenal should go for Memphis Depay, because he's got that element of experience. He gives us that kind of experience. In my opinion, I don't think so. I think this summer, Arsenal, whichever. Look, there is a stage where you stop signing in these crap players. There is a stop where you stop doing that. I think Liverpool have done it very well. If you remember Liverpool's transfer policies under Brendan Rodgers and the managers before him, they could sign in anyone. They could sign in Joe Allen from Swansea. They could bring in Adam Lallana from Swansea. They could bring in Ricky Lambert. Can you imagine? They could bring in Andy Carroll, and that was because they didn't have a structure. So when Jurgen Klopp came in, he said, look, Jordan Henderson stays. I like him. Jordan Henderson stays. The rest out, right? The rest move out. And that is how Liverpool built the team they have today. Literally, if you ask me how many players are still available, are still playing for Liverpool ever since Klopp came in, the only one I remember is Jordan Henderson. I don't remember any other, unless I'm wrong, but I don't remember any other. But it reached a time when Liverpool could not sign a player just for the sake. It reached a time when every signing for them mattered. I think Arsenal have reached that level. I do not know if I'm wrong. I'm wrong or right, but I think we have reached that level. We have Odegaard, so you can't sign anyone below Odegaard. You can't sign anyone below Saka, and you can't sign anyone below, Martinelli or Smith Rowe. You can't sign anyone that degrades the quality of this team. Anyone that comes in for me must be a starter who pushes one of the key players out. I don't think we should be buying squad players at the moment. Maybe apart from the right back position and maybe the left back position, to get someone who's better to always cover for KNTNA. The goalkeeping department where Matt Turner will come in the summer. Maybe that, and maybe the defense where we found the right partnership, and now maybe Saliba comes in or anyone comes in. But I don't think Arsenal at any point in time should be thinking, should be going, okay, look, we're gonna sign in someone to sit on the bench for Saka. I think we should sign in. Our next signings must be marquee. And I told you that Gary Neville made that very very interesting point on the overlap, and he said the, where Arsenal are and where Mikel Arteta has put them, they either stay there all their life because and he's right, because at this point in time, Arsenal could as well have hit the end of the end of the road. Honestly, we could have hit the end of the road. We can finish fourth, and then what next? Because this squad does not compete for the league. And I mean squad. I don't mean our starting 11, because our starting 11 still doesn't compete. But our squad as well doesn't compete. You've already seen it. Partey getting injured and TNA, everything seems like it's an absolute shambles. So Memphis Depay, I would love to get your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to get your thoughts in the comment box. Do you think Arsenal really should be going for Memphis Depay, or you actually think this is a transfer that won't actually make any sense? I think it would make some little sense, but 90%, I would say, don't bring in Memphis Depay. Go for a better signing. Yeah. In the morning we talked about Cody Gakpo, and I think, look, Gakpo might not be that level of Salah, Mane, Jota, and I'm trying to mean upgrades, to what we need, but Gakpo is at least a huge talent and has a lot of time ahead of him. Scouting is good. So if Arsenal have scouted him, if Mikel has actually scouted him like he scouted Filippo Coutinho, and he said, look, I want to sign in Filippo Coutinho, and all of us said, look, Coutinho is injury prone and everything like that, and then he's coming at Aston Villa and he's done well. So if Mikel has actually if he's scouted him, maybe, but in my opinion, I would go for someone younger. I would go for someone with a higher ceiling and someone with a bigger resale value. I think the biggest problem with players like Memphis Depay is the resale value, right? Unless you get them on a free. Roger Bracker says, Cossy, what happened to Lokonga? Lokonga came on. Look, nothing happened to Lokonga because Albasami Lokonga played when Partey went off. Lokonga came on, so nothing happened to Albasami Lokonga. I think your question is, why isn't he playing? And the reason why Lokonga is not playing is Mikel Arteta found his starting 11. And one thing we've learned about Arteta, he crumbs his 11 and then he crumbs the substitutes. It's so easy. It's very, very predictable with Mikel. We know the lineup, and it's either Lacazette coming on for Eddie Nketiah, or Smith Rowe coming on for Martinelli. That is it. Or Pepe coming on for Saka. Those are the three changes. Like, Elneny has been there, but Elneny has not been playing football. Lokonga has been there, available. Lokonga is not playing football. Look, with Mikel, once, and I think this is a positive. I'm not really criticizing him. Once he found his 11, he said, okay, nice, good, niceness. Now this is the 11 I'm going to be using day in, day out. And I absolutely agree with him. So now that that Partey is injured, now that Partey is out, we're going to be seeing more of Albert Sambi Lokonga. Actually, I saw something that was disturbing on AFTV when they were asking, should Albert Sambi Lokonga start in the next game now that Partey is injured? And Mike, I'm not trying to go at AFTV, get me right, but my head was like, why do they even ask this? I think Lokonga didn't drop out of the squad because he was poor. He actually dropped out of the squad because Partey had started performing well. And because remember, Partey and Lokonga are both new signings, but Lokonga is an understudy to Thomas Partey, right? So literally, I don't see anyone. I don't see why anyone would say Lokonga has dropped out of the squad. He's not good enough, and things like that. So Lokonga is okay. So expect to start him against Brighton. High chances are that he will start against Brighton. Okay. Now going back to the topic, like I was saying, on Memphis Depay, for me in this summer, what I want to see Arsenal doing is go for marquee signings. I don't care. I don't care if Arsenal decide to say, we're going to bring in a couple of, we're going to bring in a couple of, we're going to bring in a couple of squad players. Look, I could care less, honestly. I could care less. If they say, we're going to bring in a couple of squad players, we're going to sign one or two squad players that are not, that are just backups. But I wouldn't really say that is what we should focus on in the summer. I think our summer and our transfers right from this from this summer, they should change. Absolutely, they should change. Now we are, we've start, we need to start going after those big signings. So there is a story that I'd love to share with you, and I will talk about it also in the morning. But this is a story from Germany, and from Christian Falk, right? And this is what they're saying. He's saying Bayern are currently offering Serge Gnabry around 15 million per year to extend his contract. Meanwhile, the player wants 18 to 20 million per year, million euros. The talk the talk is of a discrepancy around 5 million between both sides. So Serge Gnabry is 26 years of age. At the moment, I think he's one of the best, coolest wingers in modern football. He can score for you many goals. He can create for you many chances. He's a gun, right? Actually, I think he's a missile. I think it's high time. Unlike look, I'm the same person who said Arsenal cannot go after Erling Haaland, and my reason for that was I think Arsenal are not yet, we are not yet there to sign Erling Haaland. But then there are very many huge, big names Arsenal can go for that are not Erling Haaland, right? Let me say this. One, Serge Gnabry. Gnabry is 26 years of age. If you brought in Serge Gnabry, I think Mikel Arteta would be the happiest manager in the world, because what he's looking at, what he's looking for, and why you're saying that he's being linked with Depay, he's being linked with Richarlison, Gakpo, and all those. He's looking for a winger that can give him numbers. He's looking for a winger that can actually provide those numbers in terms of goals and assists, like consistently. Saka this season, 9 goals, 5 assists. So I think what Mikel is looking for someone to replicate those figures on the other side. And I think Serge Gnabry can. I think Serge Gnabry can replicate those numbers. It would be a step ahead, because if you look at the last 5-6 years, we've not signed a player of that difficulty. Maybe Partey, but Partey was a release clause, right? Partey was a release clause, and there were not so many clubs that were interested in Thomas Partey. At least as far as I remember, the competition we had, because if there were clubs genuinely interested in Thomas Partey, they could have just triggered his release clause, right? They could have just triggered his release clause, but that didn't happen, and it still shows you that Arsenal were the only contender. Pepe, the same thing. It was, I think, for Pepe, it was just the money, but there was no much difficulty in the deal. And if you look at the way it was structured as well, Aubameyang, I don't remember many clubs wanting Aubameyang by the time we signed him as well. So Gnabry would be a marquee signing, a statement signing. One, for Arsenal to announce themselves, or to announce ourselves that now we are back in the market and we're going to be fighting for the best talent in there, as long as we have, as long as we are offered we are offered with the opportunity. And I think at this point in time, the opportunity is there. I can't lie. I think the opportunity is there. Serge Gnabry, he has there is a discrepancy in the wages. If we can offer him what he wants, give it to him, honestly, lads. Give it to him. So instead of going for Memphis Depay, definitely, I would go for Serge Gnabry, not because he's played for Arsenal, and I'm nostalgic, because many people think we Arsenal fans want Serge Gnabry to come back because he has unfinished business at Arsenal, and we are nostalgic and all that nonsense. Look, I think we could be nostalgic, that that could be there, but I honestly don't think that is the primary reason Arsenal want Gnabry. I think, honestly, he is a good, complete, successful winger that would add lots and lots of things to Arsenal, and to our game. But I'd love to get your thoughts there in the in the comments below. What you think, and also make sure to smash a like on the video. Thanks everybody. It really helps me. It really helps me. Well, let's see. Kenneth says Depay is not a bad player, depending on Arsenal playing style. He can work. I don't think he's a bad player. Like I said, he started very well on his journey at Barcelona from Lyon. He started very well. He's not a bad player at all. But what I'm saying is, between Depay, Gakpo, Richarlison, and Gnabry, which deal makes more sense? That is that is all I'm saying. And personally, I think the Gnabry deal makes more sense. I think the Gakpo deal would make a lot of sense more than Memphis Depay. But I'm not really saying Depay is a bad player. He's okay. He's 29. He can be, he can come in at Arsenal and for around what, 3 years. Maybe you give him a 3-year contract. But my problem with these old players is that you can give him a 3-year contract, just like we did with Willian, and then he's gassed out, and then he just busts. He busts out. Today I've been looking at a story from Spain, and Real Madrid are saying they want to loan out Eden Hazard. If there is a club that want to buy him, they would be very, very open to selling, but they want to loan him out as bad. They want him out to an extent that they will agree to loan him out, right? So look, that's it. That is the point. That is what we are talking about. We don't want to find ourselves in the Williams situation. We don't want to find ourselves there. We want to move on, and we want to be a better club. I've given an example of Liverpool and Chelsea. I think, apart from Chelsea signing Timo Werner and Lukaku, and I think both of them were good signings at the time, because Lukaku had won the Italian Serie A with Inter, and Werner had been very, very good for the previous seasons. It just didn't work out. But look at Chelsea, Liverpool, and City, right? I think we need to be going for players that Liverpool want. We need to be going, I'm sorry to say this, but we need to be going for players that Liverpool would sign, City would sign. Look, Partey would play for City. Partey would play for Liverpool. That's a good signing. Very, very good signing. At this point in time, Ben White would play in almost 70% of the teams in the Premier League. That's a good signing. Ramsdale would play in any team in the Premier League. That is a good signing. Would Man City go for Memphis Depay? I don't think. Would Liverpool go for Memphis Depay? I don't think. I don't think. Right? I'm not saying we should copy them, because our styles, again, are not that similar. You can see what Klopp has done at Liverpool and what Guardiola has done at City. Both of them are playing a 4-3-3, but look, at Liverpool, it is intense. It is hectic. You run around, you run a lot and everything like that. But in City, players are literally having the ball, and they are making short passes, and then they break you down. So it depends on what we want, but then the quality of players, right? The quality of players should be as the same as that of Liverpool and Manchester City. Let me give you an example, right? Let me give you an example. If we did a combined 11 between Liverpool and City at the moment, I think both goalkeepers qualify. Then you would go for Van Dijk and Diaz, probably. Yeah. Then Trent and Cancelo, right? You can see how they're sharing those positions. Fabinho, we would go for Fabinho over Rodri. So Fabinho and Kevin De Bruyne. right? And then up front, you have Salah. I would go for Salah. I would go for for maybe Sterling. I would go for Salah, Mahrez, and Mane, right? And Mane. And then in the midfield, I think Liverpool could be beaten in the midfield. Then bring in Phil Foden, you bring in Bernardo Silva and Ike Gundogan. But if you did that combined 11 for those two teams, like objectively, you'd see that they're not miles apart. But if you did our combined 11 with City, even now that we are performing well, we are not yet there. The goalkeeper, I would still go with Ederson. At right back, Kyle Walker. At left back, Cancelo, Diaz, and maybe Gabriel. And then in the midfield, I would go for Lodri and Partey. Actually, I would go for Lodri, Partey, and Gundogan, right? Lodri, Partey, and Gundogan. And then up front, I would put Kevin De Bruyne there. I would put Saka, Kevin De Bruyne, and who else? And I think Mahrez or Sterling, depending. So you can say that not many Arsenal players would get into a Chelsea team. Not many Arsenal players would get into a Liverpool team. Not many Arsenal players would get into a Manchester City team. That's what we have to work on now, right? Like if we could get Erling Haaland, I'm not really saying just get Haaland, but if we can get the caliber of a striker up top, right? Then you get your Saka, because Saka is already world class. Then you bring someone to directly compete with Martinelli. You could bring in Richarlison to compete with Martinelli. It just gives your squad more value, and I think that's what we need. So I'm not really saying he's a bad player, Memphis Depay. I'm saying we need to just elevate the value of our squad more. Right. So the other story is around Darwin Nunez. Now, Darwin Nunez, I prefer to call him Nunez. I mean, Nunez is quite disturbing for me. Yesterday, he was in action, scored against Liverpool for Benfica, but they still lost 3-1. However, in that game, Manchester United and Arsenal sent scouts to observe Darwin Nunez throughout the game. I think he's one striker that we've not talked about a lot on this channel, but in the coming weeks, days, hours, minutes, seconds, don't be surprised if every story I do, there is a name, Darwin Nunez. And obviously, we will be talking about strikers and Arsenal and everything in regards to strikers. But one thing I'm going to say about Darwin, he's not yet a complete striker. I've looked at his scout reports. I've looked at scout videos. I've read his analysis and everything, and I've seen him play because he has attracted a lot of attention. He has already scored 28 goals this campaign for Benfica. 28 in no competition, Champions League, and the Portuguese league. 28 goals. He's just 22 years of age. He's amazing. I think what he will provide with us, first and foremost, is that kind of satisfaction that despite the fact that we didn't beat Juve at Dusan Vlahovic, we can get ourselves a good striker. Let me tell you something, lads. It's something crazy. When we lost Darwin Nunez, when we lost Dusan Vlahovic to Juve, I just became demotivated, and I was like, maybe Arsenal not even going to find a good striker in the market. Now, it was ridiculous, right? I understand. I know many of you are going to tell me, wow, Cossy, that was ridiculous. There's so many other strikers in the market, and you know that, and you've been reporting about that all the time. And it is absolutely true, right? It's absolutely true that there's so many good strikers out there. But I think with Darwin Nunez, he's just made me realize that this is not the end. This is not the end for us. No, this is not the end for us to get a good striker. We we still have the chances. But yeah, we were scouting him yesterday. His price is now being rumored to have increased. That is the information I have. His price is being rumored to have increased. He was being valued at around 80 million euros, and now Benfica are saying after last night, his price could actually go up to 100 million. That would be crazy. But I think he's one Arsenal should try. I mean, all our best. I don't know whether we can get him, but I think we should try all our best and see if we can get him. Hot property, like Fabrizio says, Barca want him, United want him, Arsenal want him, many top clubs would want him. You can see the price is actually going up, and in the summer, I mean, we all we have to do is wait and see what's going to happen in the summer. But I think it's one that would be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Do we really stand a chance for Gnabry? And what are the chances, Cossy? Stephen Keita. Um, I think with Gnabry, because it's the contract, right? It's the contract situation that is that matters. If Bayern, I think his priority will be to stay at Bayern, right? Because he's already holding contract talks. If he can stay at Bayern, he will stay. But I think Bayern will be going like, we will not give you 20 million per year. We will sign in Rafinha, or we will sign in. We could go and sign in a player like Gakpo, and he gives us the same thing you're giving us at a lower price. Because I think yes, he's adding value and quality, but I think Bayern are really full of quality at the moment. They're not really desperate as Arsenal. Because look, I think I tip them to finish the signing of Ryan Gravenberch, and that means more quality to their side. So in the end, I'm gonna say the chances of us getting him over other clubs, because Madrid are interested as well, as far as I've heard, and PSG, the chances are minimal. All we have to do is convince him. He's come out and said in the UK, it said in the England, there is a very, very nice project going on, right? So and because he was asked about Arsenal and everything and his future, and he was saying that this Arsenal project in the UK is actually phenomenal, and you can't disagree. Our project is absolutely phenomenal, absolutely very, very good. So you never know. You never know. I'm not really gonna commit and say our chances are high or low, but it depends on the contract situation. If it stays the way it is, then it is what it is. Eric says, by the way, Cossy, how is Kampala? Kampala is okay, bro. Hope you're doing well. Gnabry is a good upgrade to our team. Absolutely, I agree with that, Eric. Anu says Gnabry is okay. Hope Arsenal could avoid. You said Gnabry is okay. I hope Arsenal could avoid to sign him. I don't know what you mean. Talk about Saliba return briefly. Thanks from 256. And then Kenneth says, Cossy, I have tried to watch that that guy, Nunez, extremely talented player. We need him. Right. Let me start off with Saliba. Like I've done an extensive video about Saliba. I think it's very hard. It's still hard for you guys to meet to get my videos because I've been away from YouTube for some time. It will take time for me to get back in the search engine. I've done a video about William Saliba. Saliba's future depends on Arsenal, right? And but it depends on Arsenal, but we don't have the key 100%. Because one, he wants guarantees. He wants to be guaranteed game time. He wants to be guaranteed that he's going to play day in, day out. He wants to be part of the squad and all those things, right? I think right now, Mikel Arteta is in a dilemma, honestly. I think he's in a dilemma, a huge, huge dilemma. One where he needs to decide who stays and who goes between these center backs. And the truth is, for me, I think it's gonna be Saliba. At the end of the day, it will be Saliba. But look, I'm according to the reports we have, Goal.com, Arsenal want him to stay. Arsenal are planning on giving him a new contract. So we will wait until then. We will wait until anything comes up. Cossy, I've tried to watch the guy. Nunez is absolutely talented. He's good. I think he's good as a striker, complete striker, you would say. to come. At the moment, his first touch is a problem. But one thing I love about him is his ability in the penalty area. He's very, very able, right? He's very, very able. Of course, you talk about Partey's injury. Thomas Partey's injury, we are gonna be having scans. So anytime now, we're gonna be having scans. From is gonna go through scans. He got a thigh injury in the same area where he had suffered an injury, and according to Mikel, he has to go through scans. According to the Arsenal website, actually, he has to go through scans. Right? He has to go through scans. So we don't know how long it's gonna be, but probably he will not be available for the weekend game. Cossy really need progressive midfielder next season to assist Partey. I've suggested Ryan Gravenberch, but of course we cannot. I think we will not fight with Bayern. But I think there's so many others there. There's so many others out there. There's so many others out there. Why are we always giving rumors? Let's know sure. Let's know how sure are you about Nunez? Look, if you understand how the transfer market works, it's all about giving you the latest. It's all about giving you the latest. The end result of a transfer window is you've signed someone or you've not. In the summer, we signed 6. In January, we didn't sign anyone. We didn't bring in anyone. Yes, we signed players from USA, from Kroenke's sides, right? But we didn't bring in anyone. So that's it. That is the harsh reality about transfers. Hit the like button, people. Thanks everybody for joining me this evening. Catch me same time tomorrow. I'll say kwaheri and good night.